Bill Zoslocki is one of 6 men running for mayor for the city of Modesto. He's been hailed by some as a hero to the impoverished and infirmed in the heart of Mexico, a country where he's flown doctors to provide medical care to those in need. He's also been scorned in the Modesto Bee by being labeled that seemingly dirty word developer. He's a builder who has ideas of expanding Modesto, building anew and rebuilding the old. He is the attitude that I saw when I decided to move to Modesto 25 years ago. His dedication to family and work make me realize that real men do exist. Over the past 2.5 decades, I've seen the passion of community pride wither, much like a delicate flower wilts in the hot August sun at a loss for nourishment. His calm surrender to absorb his surroundings, rather than to be at war with it, is comforting. His enthusiasm is refreshing from the run-of-the-mill, work-a-day, make ends meet drone. How will that enthusiasm shape Modesto's future? As I've told you before, we're going to meet the mayoral candidates. Sit down with them and talk with them, but not with a canned political speech, but rather a fireside chat, if you will. Welcome.
Thank you.
Zoslocki is kind of a tongue twister for me. Can I call you Bill?
You can call me Bill. Everyone can call me Bill.
Thank you.
That's what most people call me is Bill.
Thank you. And Francisco and Chance, welcome.
Thanks.
I mentioned in the introduction there that you're a pilot.
Yes.
Okay, please tell me where you went to school and why did you choose to, instead of being like a pilot for TWA, why did you decide to fly down to Mexico, fly doctors down to Mexico?
Actually, I started flying when I was 15 and a half. It was a opportunity that became available when I was in high school. A high school counselor, George Pettigrove, still remember his name, was reviewing my skills and determined that none of the skill sets on the tests I took really fit me. A little card that said flying. He noticed my eye peek over at the card and get excited, and he said, "Oh, would you like to learn to fly?" And I, of course, said, "Yeah, I've always dreamed of that." All the tests never said, "Would you like to fly?" And he said, "Really? Well, this card is good for an introductory flight lesson." And he signed it, and it was $6 or something, and I was able to get a lesson and a logbook and all sorts of things. So from that point, I started flying. The reason I didn't take that up as a career was I wear glasses. Well, not anymore, LASIK surgery. But back then I wore glasses, and as a pilot, you had to have 20/20 vision.
Without the glasses.
Without glasses, and that kept me out. Now, since then, that's no longer true. They've changed those standards, and lots of pilots have corrective vision with glasses.
But how did you get involved with going to Mexico?
Well,
and flying doctors.
And flying doctors. And it started in actually 2005. I learned of the organization. I knew a friend of mine is a doctor, and she was a pediatrician, and she started sharing with me about being able to fly to Mexico. I thought that would be a great thing to do. I'd like to do it. So I just joined this organization called Liga, L-I-G-E-G-A, Liga, Flying Doctors of Mercy. So it's Liga International. They're on the website. You can learn a lot about them if you want to Google them. And they have a clinic, and once a month they fly doctors. And the reason they do this is we can take doctors, fly them there, and in a weekend's time they perform surgery. Everything's free. Surgery, examinations, provide medication to people that have no other health care. The last trip that I took down was in June. We had a woman there that had gallbladder surgery. I actually got to observe and videotape the surgery. Had a person walk in with a 20-pound tumor on their leg, and they removed the tumor. Just lots of eye surgeries.
So you start from the beginning and go all the way. You fly them down there, you videotape.
That's the whole thing. My job is to get doctors and medical personnel there safely and back home again so they can go back to work Monday.
Now, does that happen over the weekend?
It happens over the weekend. We leave Friday.
Oh, wow.
And it's a nonstop flight. Again, my job is to get them there. So they sleep all the way down. get them through customs, and
Amazing.
yeah, it really is. It's a great organization.
Now, in addition to flying doctors on the weekend, you also have a day job.
I do have a day job, yes.
And, you know, I said in the introduction about the Modesto Bee calling you that seemingly dirty word, developer.
Developer, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it?
It shouldn't be. I mean, there's a lot of developers throughout history, but in current times it's been used to vilify and attack people in unjust ways. What I do, I'm a businessman, and being a businessman, part of being a businessman is allowing the creativity that you have to look for how can you improve society, what can you do. And so that's what I do, is I look at things and look at ideas and create through my mind and through the talents of other individuals, architects, engineers, and such, create what the future is going to be. And it's a talent. Not everyone wants to do that. There's tremendous risk. Everyone lives in a house that I know of, unless you're homeless. And it's an important function of what everyone needs in order to survive,
Yeah.
is a place to live. Does that mean everything should be paved over and turned into subdivisions? When I look back in the 50s and the 60s in the LA area primarily, and some areas over in the Bay Area, absolutely not. That's part of planning. Good planning allows you the flexibility to create the environment and also to think about the future of how and what sort of future a community may be. Modesto has tremendous resources in the natural resources. I call it our agricultural base that needs to be protected because it's key to who we are. We started as a farming town. We need to preserve that because that's who we are.
Well, you know, if I didn't know better, I would say that you were kind of peeking at my questions
No,
here.
I'm not.
But no, okay.
I promised I wouldn't.
Building. Okay, the question was, are you planning on building over the top of farmland? And like I said, I think you were, well, no, you weren't peeking, but that's not your plan. Your plan is to embrace, as I was saying in the introduction, to embrace your surroundings rather than build right over the top of it. So what are some of your plans? Because I know that if you become mayor, I mean, you have plans of how to re-nourish this city. How do you see that working with the agriculture?
That's a good question that needs a good airing to be understood. First of all, there are state requirements in California that are planning requirements. We now have SB 375 that was passed a few years ago. It's called transit-oriented development, and that is requiring components of transportation, components of shopping, and where people go to work and how it interconnects within any development at all. Modesto should utilize those areas that are least beneficial in a agricultural environment for residential. For instance, I think residential should be on the northeast corner if Modesto is to grow. Nothing should happen until, and it won't happen because of the function of the market, nothing will be developed in the near term just because of the economy. And so it's not on my radar in the short term, but in a planning process of how does Modesto go through a process, where should things occur. Residential should be on those poor soils in the northeast section where there's hard pan and it's difficult to grow a lot of tree products and those kinds of things. Other areas of Modesto really should not be encouraged as areas of development other than industrial. I ask this question, and I'll ask your audience right now. Can you name for me, and this has to do about business and what challenges Modesto and our 20% unemployment, can you name for me one industry, one major manufacturer that's come to Modesto in the last 20 years? And I'll ask it right here, and those sitting out there. Can you name for me one major manufacturer that's come to Modesto in the last 20 years? And the answer is there is none. And my comment back is that explains the process of what is a big challenge in Modesto towards jobs. We are not a business-friendly environment. We've never created the locations where industry could go and develop job centers for our community. I have Francisco sitting next to me, a young man. Many people are joining my campaign. In fact, we just did a Facebook analysis today, and I think it was 60% of those that are following me in my campaign are young adults.
I'm in that 60%.
Yeah, and that's the 30 and under crowd. Wherever I go, I'm drawing. If you look at my brochure, you'll see the large number of young adults. That's because the message of I live in Modesto. I want to get educated. So you go off to become educated. Then you don't ever come back. We export not only our products, but we also export our brightest and best children out of our community because we don't have jobs to provide them in Modesto. So we need to fix that. That's one of my goals, is to fix the environment. That's providing locations for industry located at the transportation corridors.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, so that answered my question. Transportation corridors meaning?
99.
Okay.
99. That's where jobs need to be, not houses.
Right.
Not houses. And yes, that would require the loss of some farmland. But you have to look at what is the greater value, allowing jobs, particularly for our youth, or keeping that environment there.
Strategic.
Strategic only, and put hard centers or hard lines that these are the areas that are perpetually preserved forever.